3 months later, Seoul had transformed from late autumn into the bite of early winter. Snow dusted the Han River's edges, and the city sparkled with holiday lights that made everything feel magical. Chisholm stood in her new office. A proper office now, not a co-working space. Looking out at the city that had once broken her heart and was now becoming home again. The Park Industries contract had led to 3 more major deals. Her Seoul branch was thriving beyond her wildest projections. "Amma, Appa's here." Zuri's voice rang through the office. Chisholm turned to see her daughter racing through the door, Jin-woo following behind with Kai, who was explaining something elaborate about robotics with his usual serious intensity. "You're early," Chisholm observed, but she was smiling. "The kids were antsy," Jin-woo said, moving to kiss her cheek. A casual intimacy that had become natural over the past months. Something about Harabiaji promising to teach them traditional Korean kite flying? "And Halmiani said she'd make us hotteok," Zuri added excitedly. "The sweet kind with cinnamon." Chisholm still marveled at how easily the twins referred to Jin-woo's parents now. Park Hyun-suk's transformation had been slow but genuine. It had started with that bedtime story 3 months ago and had gradually evolved into weekly dinners, cultural lessons, and a grandmother's fierce protection of her unexpected grandchildren. "Did you finish the presentation?" Jin-woo asked, helping Chisholm gather her things. "Just sent it off. The Nigerian expansion proposal is solid." She looked at him. "Are you ready for this? Your board meeting on Monday is going to be intense." Jin-woo had spent the last 3 months restructuring Park Industries, proposing radical changes that had made the old guard nervous. He was pushing for more diverse hiring practices, ethical supply chains, and a shift away from some of the family's more traditional and problematic business practices. "I'm ready," he said confidently. "My father's backing me. That's enough." Park Jin-woo's father had indeed become Jin-woo's greatest ally, using his influence to support his son's vision, even when it meant challenging his wife's preferences. Their marriage was changing too, becoming something more honest, if not exactly what either had dreamed of. "Amma, can we go now?" Kai tugged at her hand. "Harabiaji said we have to get there before the good wind stops." "The good wind?" Chisholm laughed. "For the kites?" Kai explained patiently, as if this were obvious. They drove to the Park estate in 2 cars. Chisholm still insisted on maintaining some independence, even as their lives had become increasingly intertwined. The twins sang Christmas carols in a chaotic mix of Korean, English, and Igbo, making up words when they forgot the real ones. At the gate, something was different. A new plaque had been installed, beautifully calligraphed in both Korean and English. "The Park Mosu family." Chisholm stopped walking, staring at it. Jin-woo came up beside her, slipping his hand into hers. "My father's idea," he said softly. He said it was time the house reflected all of its family. Tears pricked Chisholm's eyes. "Jin-woo, wait until you see inside," he said mysteriously. The twins had already run ahead, their voices echoing through the traditional home. When Chisholm entered, she stopped in shock. The formal receiving room where she'd once been offered money to disappear had been transformed. The walls now displayed a mix of traditional Korean art and vibrant African textiles. Photos of the twins were everywhere, in silver frames, arranged with care among the family portraits that had hung there for generations. But what made Chisholm's breath catch was the newest addition, a large family portrait, professionally taken just last week. Jin-woo stood behind Chisholm, his hands on her shoulders. The twins sat in front, beaming, and on either side stood Jin-woo's parents, his father smiling warmly, his mother's expression more reserved but present. "There, trying. Halmiani said I could help her cook today," Zuri announced, dragging Mrs. Park by the hand. "She's teaching me to make tteok." Park Hyun-suk looked at Chisholm with an expression that might have been apology, might have been peace offering. "If that's acceptable to you." "Of course," Chisholm said. "Thank you for including her." Mrs. Park nodded stiffly, then allowed Zuri to pull her toward the kitchen. The sound of Zuri's chatter faded, but Chisholm could hear her grandmother's voice responding. Halting, uncertain, but genuinely engaged. "She's trying," Jinwoo's father said, appearing beside them. It's hard for her, admitting she was wrong. But those children, he smiled. They've cracked something open in her heart. Harabiaji, the kites. Kai was bouncing with impatience. Right. Can't disappoint the good wind. Jinwoo's father winked at Chisholm. Join us when you're ready. We'll be in the garden. After they left, Jinwoo pulled Chisholm into a quiet corner. I have something to show you. He led her to a room she'd never been in before. A study lined with books and family records. On the desk sat a stack of legal documents. I've been working with lawyers, Jinwoo said, to establish a trust for the twins, equal to what any park heir would receive, protected from any family disputes. Their education, their futures, it's all secured. Chisholm's throat tightened. Jinwoo, you didn't have to. I did, he interrupted gently. They're my children. They deserve everything I can give them. And Chisholm, he pulled out another document. I had my lawyers draft a co-parenting agreement, but not a standard one. Chisholm took the papers, scanning them. Her eyes widened. This gives me primary custody but equal decision-making authority. It protects them from being used in any family power plays. She looked up at him. This is incredibly generous. It's fair, Jinwoo corrected. You raised them for 5 years alone. You're an incredible mother. This just formalizes what's already true, that we're partners in this, that we make decisions together. There's a clause about religious and cultural education, Chisholm noted, still reading. Ensuring they learn about both Korean and Igbo traditions. They should know all of who they are, Jinwoo said. I've been thinking, maybe next summer we could visit Nigeria? Meet your parents. Let the twins see where half of their heritage comes from. Chisholm couldn't hold back her tears anymore. You'd do that? Of course. Jinwoo pulled her close. Chisholm, I'm in this. Completely. I want to know your family, understand your culture, give our children every part of their identity. She kissed him, pouring 6 years of hurt and 3 months of healing into it. When they pulled apart, both were smiling through tears. There's one more thing, Jinwoo said, suddenly looking nervous. And I know this is fast, I know we're still figuring things out, but… He pulled a small box from his pocket. Chisholm's heart stopped. This isn't an engagement ring, Jinwoo said quickly. Or it can be someday if you want. But right now, I just want you to know my intentions. I want you to know that I'm not going anywhere, that I'm building a life with you and our children in mind. This is a promise ring. A promise that I'll be here every day, proving I've changed. A promise that when you're ready, if you're ready, I'll be waiting to make this official. He opened the box. Inside was a beautiful ring, not ostentatious but elegant. The band was designed to look like 2 vines intertwining, one in gold and one in silver, with small stones that Chisholm realized represented the twins' birthstones. Jinwoo, she breathed. You don't have to wear it, he said quickly. Or you can wear it on a different finger or… Help me put it on, Chisholm interrupted. Jinwoo's hands shook slightly as he slid the ring onto her right hand. Fit perfectly. It's beautiful, Chisholm whispered. You're beautiful. Jinwoo kissed her softly. And I'm going to spend every day proving I deserve you. You already do, Chisholm said, cupping his face. You show up. You love our children. You're patient with me. You stood up to your family. Jinwoo, you've already proven everything. So is that a yes? To someday? To possibility? Chisholm smiled. It's a yes to one day at a time. To building something together. To seeing where this goes. I'll take it, Jinwoo said, kissing her again. They were interrupted by Zuri's shriek of laughter from outside. Through the window, they could see Jinwoo's father helping Kai launch a traditional Korean kite while Zuri ran in circles, her own kite tangling hopelessly. Mrs. Park had emerged from the kitchen, watching with an expression that might have been fondness. Come on, Chisholm said, pulling Jinwoo toward the garden. Our children are destroying your family's peace and quiet. Best thing that ever happened to this place, Jinwoo said. Outside, chaos reigned in the best possible way. Kai's kite was soaring beautifully while Zuri's had crashed into a tree. Jinwoo's father was patiently untangling the string, explaining aerodynamics in terms a 5-year-old could understand. Mrs. Park approached Chisholm hesitantly. Ms. Nwosu Chisholm, may I speak with you? They walked a short distance from the others, standing by a traditional stone lantern. I owe you an apology, Mrs. Park said stiffly. Several apologies, actually, for how I treated you 6 years ago, for the things I said, for trying to control this situation now. Mrs. Park, please let me finish. The older woman took a breath. I've spent 60 years believing that control and tradition were the same as love, that protecting the family name meant sacrificing personal happiness. Watching my husband with the twins, seeing his joy at being a present grandfather in a way he couldn't be as a father. She paused. It's made me realize how much we've all lost to pride. Change is hard, Chisholm said gently. It is. But Zuri asked me yesterday why I looked so sad all the time. Mrs. Park smiled slightly. A 5-year-old's observation. She said, Halmione, if you smile more, your face won't hurt. And I realized she's right. Carrying this weight, this bitterness, this need for control. It hurts. What did you tell her? That sometimes grown-ups forget how to smile. And she said, that's silly. Smiling is easy. Mrs. Park laughed, and it was the first genuine laugh Chisholm had ever heard from her. She's taught me more in 3 months than 60 years of family tradition. She's pretty wise for her age, Chisholm agreed. They both are. And they're clearly well-loved, well-raised. Mrs. Park looked at Chisholm directly. You've done a remarkable job with them. Alone. I was wrong to judge you, to try to push you away. I can see now that you're exactly the kind of strength this family needs. Chisholm's eyes filled with tears. Thank you. That means more than you know. I'm not asking for forgiveness, Mrs. Park continued. I don't deserve it, but I'm asking for a chance to be part of their lives. To be the grandmother they deserve, not the bitter woman I've been. You already are, Chisholm said. You're reading them bedtime stories, teaching Zuri to cook, showing up. That's what matters. Mrs. Park nodded, tears in her own eyes now. My husband told me about me son, about his regrets. I've had regrets too, choices I've made, people I've hurt in the name of family duty. But I can't change the past. I can only try to do better now. That's all any of us can do, Chisholm said. They stood in companionable silence, watching the children play. Then Mrs. Park said quietly, when you and Jinwoo get married, and you will, I can see it in how he looks at you. I'd like to be involved, not to control or dictate, but to support, to welcome you properly into this family. When we get married, Chisholm repeated, testing the words. They felt less frightening than they had 3 months ago. It's obvious to everyone but perhaps the two of you, Mrs. Park said with a hint of her old authority. You're already a family. The ceremony is just formality. Before Chisholm could respond, Zuri came running up. Halmione, my kite is stuck. Can you help? Mrs. Park looked at the tangled mess of string and paper. I suppose we should rescue it. Come, let's see what we can do. As they walked away together, grandmother and granddaughter, separated by generation and culture but united by love, Chisholm felt something settle in her chest. This was what family looked like. Imperfect, complicated, built from broken pieces and glued back together with forgiveness and time. Jinwoo appeared at her side, slipping an arm around her waist. My mother actually smiled. I have photo evidence. He showed her his phone. A picture of Mrs. Park helping Zuri untangle the kite, both of them laughing. Miracles happen? Chisholm murmured. They do. Jinwoo kissed her temple. You happened. You and the twins. You're our miracle. That evening, after the kites had been flown and crashed and repaired numerous times, after Mrs. Park's hotdog had been devoured, after the twins had fallen asleep in their grandmother's lap during story time, Chisholm and Jinwoo stood on the estate's traditional veranda, looking out at Seoul's glittering lights. I've been thinking, Jinwoo said, about the future. Dangerous activity, Chisholm teased. I'm serious. He turned to face her. I want us to find a house. Not your apartment, not my place, but ours. Somewhere with a yard for the twins, space for your home office, a room for when Adana visits. A place that's ours together. That's a big step, Chisholm said, though her heart was racing. We're already taking big steps, Jin-woo pointed out. The twins call me Appa. I see them every day. We're co-parenting, we're dating, we're building a life together. Why not make it official? What about your mother? Won't she have opinions about where we live? Probably, Jin-woo laughed. But her opinion isn't my decision anymore. Ours is. What do you think? Should we start looking? Chisholm thought about it. About coming home to Jin-woo every night. About the twins having both parents under one roof. About building something permanent and real. Yes, she said finally. Let's look. But I have requirements. Good schools nearby, a kitchen big enough for both Korean and Nigerian cooking, and absolutely no traditional Hanok architecture inside. I love your parents' place, but I want something that's ours, not trapped in either of our traditions. Deal. Jin-woo pulled her close. Modern, practical, with room to grow. Maybe a bigger space so if we decide to. He stopped. If we decide to what? Jin-woo looked suddenly shy. I was going to say if we decide to have more children, but I know that's way ahead of ourselves. Chisholm's breath caught. She hadn't thought about more children, had been so focused on managing the twins and rebuilding her life that the possibility hadn't crossed her mind. Would you want that? She asked quietly. More children. Eventually, maybe, if you want to, if it feels right. Jin-woo cupped her face. But Chisholm, I'm happy with us exactly as we are. Two incredible kids, this life we're building. Everything else is just possibility. I like possibility, Chisholm whispered. They kissed as snow began to fall, light, delicate flakes that caught in Chisholm's hair and melted on Jin-woo's cheeks. Seoul sparkled around them, and for the first time since returning, Chisholm felt completely at peace. Behind them, through the window, they could see Jin-woo's parents with the sleeping twins. His father was carefully moving Kai to a more comfortable position while his mother adjusted Zuri's blanket. They moved around each other with long practice coordination, and if their marriage wasn't built on passionate love, it was at least evolving toward genuine partnership. My father wants to officially name the twins as Park heirs, Jin-woo said quietly, equal to any other grandchildren with full rights and recognition. He's having the family registry updated. That's huge. It is. Jin-woo looked at her seriously. It means they'll have responsibilities too, eventually. Board positions, expectations. I want to make sure you're comfortable with that. As long as they get to choose their own paths, Chisholm said firmly. As long as no one pressures them to sacrifice their happiness for family duty. Never, Jin-woo promised. We'll do it differently. Better. We'll give them roots and wings both. Inside, Mrs. Park noticed them on the veranda and said something to her husband. He nodded, and together they carefully carried the sleeping twins to a prepared bedroom, Jin-woo's childhood room, now updated with twin beds and decorations the children had chosen themselves. They've been spending more time here, Chisholm observed. Your parents ask for them almost every weekend now. Is that okay? I know you're protective. It's perfect, Chisholm interrupted. They need to know their Korean family, their heritage. And your parents, they're really trying. Jin-woo. I see it. My father said you've been teaching them about Igbo culture. That you brought over books and music. Chisholm nodded. If they're going to be part of the twins' lives, they should understand both sides. Your mother's been asking questions about Nigerian food, traditions. She's even been trying to learn some Igbo phrases. She has. Called Zuri Nnem yesterday. Nearly perfect pronunciation. Chisholm smiled. Your daughter was delighted. Jin-woo pulled her close again, resting his chin on top of her head. Thank you. For what? For being generous. For letting my parents in even after everything. For building bridges instead of walls. He paused. For coming back. For giving us all this second chance. I didn't do it alone, Chisholm said. You fought for us. You chose differently this time. That's what made this possible. They stood like that for a long time, wrapped in each other and the softly falling snow. Inside, the twins slept peacefully, surrounded by grandparents who were learning to love without conditions. Outside, Seoul hummed with life and possibility. Chisholm, Jin-woo said eventually. I love you. I know I've said it before, but I want you to really hear it. I love you. Not the memory of you, not the idea of us, but you exactly as you are now. Strong, independent, protective, brilliant you. I love the mother you've become. The businesswoman you've built yourself into. The person who stands up to my mother and teaches our children to be brave. Chisholm turned in his arms, looking up at him. Snow caught in his hair, melting on his warm skin. I love you too. Scares me sometimes. How much? But I do. The man you are now, the father you've become, the way you show up every single day. I love you, Jin-woo. They kissed again, soft and slow and full of promise. When they pulled apart, both were smiling. So, Jin-woo said, moving in together, meeting your parents in Nigeria, maybe more kids someday. What else should we add to our future plans? How about we just focus on tomorrow? Chisholm suggested. One day at a time, remember? One day at a time, Jin-woo agreed. Starting with tomorrow when we tell the twins we're house hunting. Zuri's going to have opinions about everything. So many opinions, Chisholm laughed. And Kai will want to measure every room and calculate the optimal furniture arrangement. Our strange, wonderful, perfect children. Our family, Chisholm corrected. Our family, Jin-woo repeated, and the words felt like home. 6 months later, the new house sat in a quiet neighborhood near a good international school, with a garden big enough for the twins to play in and a kitchen that had been specifically designed to accommodate both Nigerian and Korean cooking. The moving trucks had just left, and boxes were stacked everywhere. Amma, my room has a window seat. Zuri's voice echoed through the house. And mine has built-in bookshelves, Kai added. Chisholm stood in the kitchen, in her house, the home she was building with Jin-woo, and felt overwhelmed with gratitude. A year ago, she'd been terrified to return to Seoul. Now she was here, settled, building a life that felt solid and real. Jin-woo appeared in the doorway, looking disheveled and happy. The twins have claimed their rooms and are already arguing about paint colors. Your sister is video calling. Something about needing to see the place immediately. Chisholm laughed, answering her phone. Adana's face appeared, along with their parents crowded around the screen back in Lagos. Show us everything, Adana demanded. Chisholm walked through the house, showing each room, the garden, the neighborhood views. Her parents exclaimed over how beautiful it was, asked about the twins, wanted to know when they could visit. Maybe for the twins' birthday? Chisholm suggested. In 3 months? We're planning a big party, both families together. Both families, her mother repeated warmly. I like the sound of that. After hanging up, Chisholm found Jin-woo in what would be their shared home office, assembling furniture. Need help? She offered. Always. He pulled her down beside him. Your parents seemed happy. They're thrilled. They've been worried about me for 6 years. Seeing me settled, seeing the twins happy with their father in their lives. It's everything they wanted for us. I can't wait to meet them, Jin-woo said. In person, not just video calls. They'll love you. Fair warning though. My father will want to have the "what are your intentions" conversation even though we're living together. My intentions are to love you, marry you when you're ready, and spend the rest of my life making you and our children happy, Jin-woo said simply. When I'm ready, Chisholm repeated. You're very patient. I have all the time in the world. Jin-woo kissed her softly. I'm not going anywhere. Amma, Appa, come see. The twins' voices called from upstairs. They climbed to the second floor, where Kai and Zuri had discovered that their rooms shared a connected bathroom. It's like a secret passage, Zuri announced. Technically, it's a Jack and Jill bathroom, Kai corrected, but he was grinning too. They spent the rest of the day unpacking, arguing cheerfully about where things should go, ordering delivery for dinner because no one could find the cooking pots. Jinwoo's parents stopped by with a traditional housewarming gift, salt and rice for prosperity, and stayed for dinner, sitting on the floor with paper plates because the furniture wasn't assembled yet. "This is unconventional," Mrs. Park observed, but she was smiling. "That's what makes it perfect," Jinwoo's father said, playing with the twins while the adults talked. Late that night, after everyone had left and the twins were asleep in their new beds, Chisholm and Jinwoo lay on their mattress on the floor. Their bed frame was still in pieces, and looked up at the ceiling. "We did it," Chisholm said. "We have a house, family, a life." "We did," Jinwoo agreed. "And Chisholm, I know I said I'd wait until you're ready, but I need you to know, I'm ready, whenever you are. Tomorrow, next year, 10 years from now. I'm ready to marry you." Chisholm turned to face him in the darkness. "Jinwoo, you don't have to answer now," he said quickly. "I just wanted you to know." But Chisholm was smiling. "Ask me." "What?" "Ask me properly. Right now." Jinwoo sat up, suddenly looking nervous. "I don't have the ring. I mean, I have a ring, a real one this time, but it's in my jacket and I don't even know which box that's in." "I don't need the ring right now," Chisholm said, sitting up beside him. "I just need you to ask." Jinwoo took both her hands in his, looking at her in the dimness with so much love it took her breath away. "Chisholm Nwosu, will you marry me? Will you let me spend every day for the rest of my life proving I'm worthy of you? Will you build this beautiful, complicated, perfect family with me officially? Will you?" "Yes," Chisholm interrupted, laughing and crying at once. "Yes, yes, yes." They kissed, tumbling back onto the mattress, laughing like teenagers. When they finally pulled apart, both were grinning. "We should tell the twins," Jinwoo said. "In the morning," Chisholm suggested. "Let them sleep. Let's just have this moment for ourselves." They lay in the darkness of their new house, in the home they'd built together, and planned their future. A wedding that would blend both their cultures. The visit to Nigeria. Growing their family, their business, their love. "No regrets?" Jinwoo asked quietly. "Not a single one," Chisholm said honestly. "Everything we went through, all the pain and separation, it brought us here. And here is exactly where I want to be." "Me too," Jinwoo whispered. "Me too." 1 year later, the garden of the Park estate had been transformed. Traditional Korean wedding decorations mingled with Nigerian fabrics in bold, beautiful colors. White and gold everywhere, with touches of emerald green, Chisholm's favorite color. "You look beautiful," Adana said, adjusting Chisholm's dress one last time. The dress was a masterpiece, a fusion of Korean and Nigerian styles, with a fitted bodice that flowed into a full skirt incorporating both traditional hanbok elements and West African patterns. Chisholm's braids were styled in an elaborate updo, adorned with both gold Korean hairpins and Nigerian beads. "I can't believe I'm doing this," Chisholm said, her hands shaking slightly. "Having second thoughts?" Adana teased. "Not even close. I'm just overwhelmed. Happy overwhelmed." Through the window, they could see guests arriving, Chisholm's family from Nigeria, mixing with Jinwoo's extended family and business associates. Colleagues from both their companies, the twin school friends and teachers. Two worlds colliding, creating something new and beautiful. "The twins look adorable," Adana observed. Zuri wore a miniature version of a traditional Korean hanbok in ivory and gold, while Kai had a matching hanbok suit fusion. They stood with Jinwoo's father, who was carefully teaching them their roles in the ceremony. A knock on the door. Mrs. Park entered, elegant in traditional dress. "May I speak with you?" she asked Chisholm. Adana excused herself, leaving them alone. Mrs. Park approached slowly, pulling something from a silk bag. "This was my mother-in-law's. She wore it on her wedding day, and I wore it on mine. I'd like you to have it." She held out an exquisite jade bracelet, clearly an antique and priceless. "Mrs. Park, I can't." "You can. You are becoming my daughter officially today." The older woman's voice was thick with emotion. "I've made many mistakes, Chisholm. With you, with my son, with my own life. But if there's one thing I've learned from you and those children, it's that family is what we build, not what we're born into. You built a family with strength and love and determination. And now you're making room for all of us in it. This bracelet is just a symbol, a bridge between what was and what will be. Chisholm's eyes filled with tears as Mrs. Park fastened the bracelet on her wrist. "Thank you," Chisholm whispered, "for this, for trying, for loving them. Thank you for coming back," Mrs. Park said simply, "for giving us all a second chance." They embraced, awkward still but genuine. When they pulled apart, both were dabbing at their eyes. "Don't cry," Mrs. Park said with a small smile. "Your makeup artist will be furious." The ceremony was beautiful and chaotic in the best way. The officiant, a friend of Jinwoo's father who'd agreed to blend both Korean and Nigerian wedding traditions, guided them through vows in 3 languages. Zuri and Kai carried the rings, Zuri beaming at the crowd while Kai concentrated fiercely on not dropping anything. When they reached the altar, both children stood between their parents, exactly where they belonged. "We are gathered here," the officiant began, "to witness the union of 2 people who have already built a family, who have already chosen each other every day. Today, we simply celebrate what already exists: love, commitment, and the beautiful blending of cultures and hearts." Jinwoo and Chisholm faced each other, hands joined, their children between them. 6 years ago, Jinwoo began, his voice steady despite the tears in his eyes. "I let you go because I was afraid of disappointing my family, afraid of choosing wrong, afraid of everything except the one thing I should have feared, losing you. I lost 6 years with you, with our children. But Chisholm, you gave me something I didn't deserve, a second chance. You came back. You let me prove I'd changed. You built a life with me. Today, I'm not afraid anymore. I choose you every day for the rest of our lives. I choose our family. I choose love." Chisholm wiped her eyes, then began her own vows. "Jinwoo, when I left 6 years ago, I thought I was protecting myself. But I was just running away from the hardest thing in the world. Being vulnerable, staying when it was difficult, fighting for what I wanted. Coming back wasn't easy. Trusting you again wasn't easy. But you showed up. Every single day you showed up. For me, for our children, for us. You became the man I always believed you could be. Today, I'm not running anymore. I'm choosing to stay, to build, to love. I choose you. I choose us. Always. And you too." Jinwoo knelt to the twins' level. "Zuri, Kai, you're the best thing that ever happened to me. I promise to always show up for you, to listen to your dreams, to help you build them. I promise to be the father you deserve." "We promise too," Zuri announced, "not to be left out. We promise to be good kids and not fight too much, and to let you kiss sometimes without saying it's gross," Kai added solemnly. Laughter rippled through the crowd. The officiant smiled. "By the power vested in me, and with the blessing of family and friends from 2 continents, I now pronounce you married. Jinwoo, you may kiss your bride." And he did, deeply, thoroughly, while their children cheered and the crowd erupted in applause. When they finally pulled apart, both were grinning. "We did it," Jinwoo whispered. "We did it," Chisholm agreed. The reception was a joyous blur. Traditional Korean food alongside Nigerian jollof rice and suya. A live band playing both K-pop and Afrobeats. Guests from both families dancing together, mixing, laughing, celebrating. Chisholm's father danced with Mrs. Park, both of them stiff and formal at first but gradually relaxing. Jinwoo's father taught Chisholm's nephews to play traditional Korean games while Adana argued cheerfully with Minji, who'd come with Sua, now openly together, about the best romantic comedies. And in the middle of it all, the twins ran wild with their cousins and friends, their laughter ringing out pure and joyful. "They're beautiful together," Jinwoo's father said, finding Chisholm at the edge of the dance floor. "All of this, your families, our families, mixing and celebrating. This is what I dreamed of for my son. Not just a successful marriage, but a happy one." "Thank you," Chisholm said, "for supporting us, for believing in us. I should have believed sooner." He smiled sadly. "But I'm glad I at least got here eventually. And Chisholm, may I call you daughter now?" "I'd like that." As the sun set, Jinwoo found Chisholm and pulled her into a slow dance even though the music was upbeat and fast. Everyone's staring, Chisholm laughed. Let them stare. Jinwoo spun her slowly. Mrs. Park, how does it feel? Strange, wonderful, terrifying. Chisholm looked up at him. Perfect. No regrets. Not a single one. She rested her head on his chest, feeling his heartbeat. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be. Zuri and Kai ran up, tugging at their parents' clothes. Appa, Amma, they're about to cut the cake. And Harabiaji said, we can help. Heaven help us? Jinwoo laughed, but he and Chisholm followed their children to the elaborate wedding cake. 5 tiers decorated with both Korean and Nigerian motifs, topped with a sculpture of a family of 4 holding hands. As they cut the cake together, Jinwoo's hand over Chisholm's with the twins helping to guide the knife. Cameras flashed and guests cheered, but Chisholm was only aware of this moment. Her husband beside her, her children laughing, both their families surrounding them with love. This, she thought, this is what home feels like. Later that night, after the last guests had left and the twins had finally crashed from their sugar highs, Chisholm and Jinwoo stood on the veranda of the Park estate, the same place they'd stood in the snow 6 months ago. Tired? Jinwoo asked, wrapping his arms around her from behind. Exhausted. Happy. So happy. Chisholm leaned back against him. Your mother cried during the ceremony. I saw. I've never seen her cry in public before. She told me the bracelet belonged to your grandmother, that she wanted me to have it as a symbol of family continuity. Jinwoo turned her around to face him. My mother is trying. It's hard for her. Everything she believed about family and tradition is being challenged. But she's trying because she loves those kids. And I think, maybe, she's starting to care about you too. I never thought I'd see the day when Park Hyun-suk would dance with my father. Chisholm laughed. They looked terrified, Jinwoo agreed. But they did it. Just like everything else, they're trying. Your father asked if he could call me daughter. And I said yes. Chisholm smiled. He's been more of a father figure to me in the past year than... She stopped, not wanting to criticize her own father. Then what? My dad is wonderful, but he's in Lagos. He wasn't here for the hard parts. Your father was. He showed up for the twin school events, taught Kai about his heritage, defended us to the board when they questioned your decisions. Chisholm's voice thickened. He's family in every way that matters. He'd be honored to hear you say that. Jinwoo kissed her forehead. You know what he told me today? He said marrying you was the smartest thing I'd ever done. That you're the strength this family needs. I don't feel very strong right now. I feel overwhelmed and exhausted and like I might cry again. Then cry, Jinwoo said gently. Happy tears are allowed. So she did, standing in her husband's arms under the stars, releasing all the emotions of the day, joy and relief and gratitude, and the profound sense of rightness that came with finally being exactly where she was meant to be. Inside, through the window, they could see the twins sleeping peacefully in the room that had been prepared for them, curled up together in one bed even though they had 2, the way they always did when they felt safe and loved. We should check on them, Chisholm said, wiping her eyes. In a minute. Jinwoo pulled her closer. I want to remember this moment, our wedding day, standing here with you, knowing that tomorrow and every day after, we get to wake up together as a family. Mrs. Park, Chisholm said, testing the name again. Chisholm Park Nwosu. It's going to take getting used to. You could keep your name if you want, or hyphenate it differently. Or, no, Chisholm interrupted. I want this, Park Nwosu. Both our names, both our heritages together. Just like the twins. Just like our family. They stood in silence for a moment, Seoul glittering in the distance. What are you thinking? Jinwoo asked. That's 6 years ago. I stood in this house and felt like I didn't belong. Like I'd never belong. And now? Chisholm looked around at the estate that had been transformed with Nigerian fabrics and photos of their children. At the family that had opened its doors to her. Now I'm standing here as part of this family. Not despite who I am, but because of it. It's surreal. You've always belonged, Jinwoo said firmly. We just needed time to realize it. Your mother needed time to realize it, Chisholm corrected with a wry smile. Fair point. Jinwoo laughed. But she got there eventually. That's what matters. A phone buzzed. Jinwoo checked it and grinned. It's from Minji. She says, and I quote, "You two are disgustingly adorable together. Thanks for proving that love can actually work out. Also, I caught the bouquet, which Sua says is a sign." Help. Chisholm laughed. Should we be expecting another wedding invitation? Probably. Though Minji's parents will have a harder time accepting Sua than mine had accepting you. We should invite them over, Chisholm said. Share our experiences. Let them know it's possible to navigate family expectations and still choose happiness. Look at you becoming a relationship counselor, Jinwoo teased. I'm serious. Minji supported us. Helped you find the courage to end your engagement. We should pay that forward. One of the many reasons I love you, Jinwoo said, kissing her. You're always thinking about how to help others, how to build community. I learned it from my mother. She always said, when someone helps you climb, you send the ladder back down for others. Wise woman. I can't wait to spend more time with her when we visit Lagos next month. Next month? Chisholm repeated, still marveling at it. Our honeymoon in Nigeria. Showing you where I grew up, introducing you properly to my extended family. The twins meeting their Nigerian cousins. I've been studying Igbo phrases, Jinwoo admitted. I want to make a good impression. You're already making a good impression by trying. That's what matters. Chisholm cupped his face. My family is going to love you. They already do from the video calls. But seeing you in person, seeing how you are with the twins, how you love me, they're going to be thrilled. I hope so. I want them to know I'm going to take care of you. All of you. We take care of each other, Chisholm corrected. That's what partnership means. Jinwoo pulled her into another kiss, slow and deep and full of promise. When they finally pulled apart, both were breathless. We should get the twins, Chisholm said reluctantly. Take them home to our house. Start our first night as a officially married family. Our house, Jinwoo said, savoring the words. Our family. Our life. They went inside together, finding the twins exactly where they'd seen them. Curled up together. Kai's arm protectively around his sister. Zuri's hand clutching her brother's shirt. Jinwoo carefully scooped up Kai while Chisholm lifted Zuri. Neither child woke, too exhausted from the excitement of the day. Jinwoo's parents appeared in the doorway. His father smiled softly. Take them home. We'll handle the cleanup here. Thank you, Chisholm whispered, for everything. For this day, for accepting us, for loving them. His mother stepped forward, hesitant but determined. Thank you for making my son happy, for giving us grandchildren we adore, for showing us what family can really mean. She paused, then added softly, Welcome to the family, daughter. The word daughter made Chisholm's eyes fill with tears again. She balanced Zuri carefully and reached out with one hand. Mrs. Park took it, squeezing gently. We'll see you next week for Sunday dinner? Mrs. Park asked. We'll be here, Chisholm confirmed. As they carried the sleeping children to the car, Chisholm looked back at the estate one more time. The lights were still on, illuminating the decorations that showed the beautiful blend of two cultures, two families, two lives becoming one. From running away to running toward, she thought. From fear to love. From broken to whole. At home, they tucked the twins into their beds. Kai stirred slightly as Jinwoo pulled the blanket up. Appa. I'm here, buddy. Go back to sleep. Today was the best day ever, Kai mumbled. Now we're a real family. We've always been a real family, Jinwoo said gently. The wedding just made it official. I like official, Kai murmured, then fell back asleep. In Zuri's room, Chisholm was arranging her daughter's stuffed animals around her. Zuri's eyes fluttered open. Amma, are you and Appa married now? Yes, baby. We're married now. Good. I like when we're all together. Zuri yawned hugely. Can we have pancakes tomorrow? The Nigerian kind and the Korean kind. We can have whatever you want, Chisholm promised. I love you, Amma. I love you too, dear. So much. Finally, in their own room, Chisholm and Jinwoo collapsed onto their bed. No longer on the floor, properly assembled now with sheets that didn't come from their respective separate apartments but were newly purchased together. We're married, Jinwoo said, staring at the ceiling. We're married, Chisholm agreed. How does it feel? Chisholm thought about it. Right? Feels right. Like this is exactly where we were always supposed to end up. We just took the long way around. Jinwoo rolled onto his side, propping himself up to look at her. The long way gave us perspective, made us appreciate this more. If we'd gotten married 6 years ago, young and naive, we might not have made it. We definitely wouldn't have made it, Chisholm said honestly. You weren't ready to stand up to your family. I wasn't ready to stand up for myself. We both needed to grow. And the twins were the best unplanned thing that ever happened to both of us. Chisholm smiled. Sometimes the detours are the actual path. Philosophical Mrs. Park Nwosu. It's been a long day. I'm allowed to be philosophical. Jinwoo kissed her soft and sweet. I love you. I'm going to say it every day for the rest of our lives. But I love you. I love you too. Chisholm pulled him closer. Now less talking, more. A crash from down the hall made them both freeze. Then Zuri's voice. I'm okay. The lamp fell. But I'm okay. And there goes the romance. Jinwoo laughed, already getting up to check on their daughter. Chisholm lay back, listening to Jinwoo's footsteps down the hall. Zuri's explanation of how she'd gotten up for water and accidentally knocked over the lamp. Kai's sleepy voice asking what was happening. This, she thought. This is my life now. Chaotic, beautiful, imperfect, and absolutely perfect all at once. When Jinwoo returned, Zuri trailing behind him, insisting she wasn't tired anymore even though she was yawning. They all ended up in the master bedroom. Zuri climbed into the middle of the bed, and within minutes, Kai appeared too, climbing in on the other side. So much for our wedding night, Chisholm whispered to Jinwoo over their children's heads. There will be other nights, Jinwoo whispered back. Right now, this is perfect. And it was. The four of them in one bed. Zuri already asleep again with her head on Chisholm's shoulder. Kai curled up against Jinwoo's side. A family officially and completely. Chisholm looked at the ring on her finger. The promise ring Jinwoo had given her months ago, now joined by a wedding band, simple and elegant, inscribed with words in both Korean and Igbo. One love, one family, forever. Outside, Seoul continued its endless rhythm. But inside this house, in this bed, with these three people who were her entire world, everything was exactly as it should be. 6 years ago, Chisholm had fled Seoul heartbroken, carrying secrets and dreams and 2 tiny lives inside her. She'd thought she was running away from love, from pain, from a man who couldn't choose her. But really, she'd been running toward this moment, toward strength, toward growth, toward becoming the woman who could stand beside Jinwoo as an equal, who could demand respect from his family, who could build a business and raise 2 incredible children and still have room in her heart for second chances. Some love stories, she thought drowsily, don't follow the rules. Some love stories require you to fall apart before you can fall back together. Some love stories need time and distance and growth before they can bloom into forever. Chisholm, Jinwoo whispered. You still awake? Barely. Thank you. For everything. For coming back. For marrying me. For this. He gestured to their sleeping children between them. For our family. Thank you for being worth coming back to, Chisholm whispered. For becoming the man I always believed you could be. For loving them. For loving me. Always, Jinwoo promised. Every day. Forever. And as she drifted off to sleep, surrounded by her husband and children, Chisholm finally understood what her mother had always told her. Home isn't a place. It's people. It's wherever the people you love are, wherever you're loved in return. Seoul had broken her heart once, but it had also given her back to herself. Stronger, wiser, ready for love on her own terms. And now, Seoul wasn't just the city where she'd lost herself. It was the city where she'd found herself, where she'd found her family, where she'd found home. The end is really just the beginning, she thought as sleep finally claimed her. And tomorrow, their first full day as a married family, would be just the first of thousands more. Days filled with laughter and chaos, with challenges and triumphs, with the beautiful mess of blending two cultures and two families into something entirely new. Days of building their future one moment at a time. Days of love. 2 years later, Amma. The baby's kicking again. Chisholm looked down at her very pregnant belly, 7 months along now, and smiled as Zuri pressed her ear against it. "That's your little brother saying hello?" Chisholm said, stroking her daughter's hair. "Or sister," Kai corrected, looking up from his robotics project. "We don't know yet." "It's a brother," Zuri insisted with 7-year-old certainty. "I can feel it." Jinwoo entered the living room with a tray of snacks. Cut fruit arranged carefully because Zuri had specific requirements about how her apple slices should look. "Are we placing bets on the baby's gender again?" Zuri insists it's a boy. "Kai is remaining scientifically neutral," Chisholm reported. "What's your guess?" "I'm hoping for healthy," Jinwoo said diplomatically, kissing her forehead before setting down the tray. "But Hermione is convinced it's a girl. She wants a granddaughter who looks like Amma," Kai observed. It was true. Mrs. Park had been surprisingly emotional about this pregnancy, involved in a way she hadn't been able to be with the twins. She came to every doctor's appointment, had opinions about baby names, and was already knitting tiny clothes in both Korean and Nigerian styles. The past 2 years had transformed her. She'd started therapy at Jinwoo's father's gentle insistence, and had been working through decades of rigid thinking and unexamined beliefs. She'd even traveled to Nigeria with them last year, stepping far outside her comfort zone to meet Chisholm's extended family. "Your mother is coming over later," Jinwoo said, checking his phone. "Something about teaching Zuri to make akara. The twins are going to know how to cook everything by the time they're 10. Chisholm laughed. "Good," Jinwoo said firmly. "They should know both their cultures inside and out." Speaking of which, he pulled out a letter. "The international school approved our proposal. They're adding Igbo language classes to the curriculum next year." Chisholm's eyes filled with tears. Pregnancy hormones made her cry at everything these days. "Really? Really? Thanks to your lobbying and my mother's donation." She insisted on funding it personally. "Your mother donated money to add Igbo language classes?" She said, and I quote, "My grandchildren should not be the only ones learning their heritage. Other biracial families need resources too." Jinwoo smiled. "She's been talking to other families, actually, building a support network. She wants to start a foundation." "A foundation?" "For multicultural families in Korea. Resources, language classes, cultural education, legal support." Jinwoo sat beside her, placing his hand on her belly. "She said you inspired her. That watching you navigate Korean society, while maintaining your identity, showed her what real strength looks like." Chisholm couldn't speak, overwhelmed by how far they'd all come. 2 years ago, Mrs. Park had tried to pay her to disappear. Now she was starting a foundation to help families like theirs. People can change, Chisholm thought, if they want to badly enough, if they have reasons to. "Amma, can we go to the park?" Zuri asked. "Please?" Harabiaji said he'd meet us there with the new kites. "The ones from Nigeria?" Kai perked up with interest. During their last visit to Lagos, Chisholm's father had introduced the twins to traditional Nigerian kite flying. Now Jinwoo's father was determined to master it too, and the two grandfathers had developed an unexpected friendship based on competing over who could teach the twins better. "I don't know if I'm up for the park today," Chisholm admitted. Her back had been aching all morning. "I'll take them," Jinwoo offered immediately. "You rest." "I'm pregnant, not broken," Chisholm protested, but she was grateful. After they left, the twins chattering excitedly about kites and wind patterns, Chisholm lay on the couch, one hand on her belly. The baby kicked again, strong and insistent. Another child, she marveled. Another person to love, to teach, to raise. This time with Jinwoo from the beginning. Her phone rang. "Minji, please tell me you're still coming to the engagement party?" Minji demanded without preamble. As long as I don't go into early labor, yes, Chisholm laughed. I can't believe you and Suwa are finally making it official. We're taking the Park Mosu approach, making everyone so used to us being together that by the time we announce the engagement, it's just formality. Minji paused. Thank you, by the way, for everything. For showing me it was possible to choose happiness over family expectations. You're the one who told Jin-woo to fight for us, Chisholm reminded her. We should be thanking you. Maybe we all saved each other a little bit, Minji said. That's what found family is about, right? After they hung up, Chisholm lay there thinking about family. The one she was born into, the one she married into, and the one she'd built from friendship and shared experience and choosing to show up for each other. Her sister Adana was moving to Seoul next month, having passed the Korean bar exam. She'd be staying with them until she found her own place. Chisholm's parents visited twice a year now, and Jinwoo's father was planning a trip to Nigeria to properly learn about the other half of his grandchildren's heritage. The world had gotten smaller, or maybe just their world had gotten bigger. Lines between families, between cultures, between us and them, had blurred into something more beautiful and complex. Hours later, Jinwoo returned with exhausted, happy children. They'd flown kites, built sandcastles, met friends from school, and eaten enough street food to make dinner unnecessary. Bath time, Chisholm announced, and both twins groaned but complied. Later, after the twins were asleep and Jinwoo was rubbing Chisholm's aching feet, he said quietly, I've been thinking about names. Oh, if it's a boy, what about Chinyu? It means God owns in Igbo, right? You've been studying, Chisholm said, touched. I want to be able to teach our children about both their cultures, to speak to them in your language as well as mine. Jinwoo looked up at her. And if it's a girl, I was thinking maybe Misun? After my father's lost love? It would honor his past while building our future. Chisholm's eyes filled with tears again. He'd love that. Both names are perfect. Or we could do both. Korean and Nigerian names, like the twins. Jinwoo smiled. We don't have to decide tonight. We have time. They sat in comfortable silence, Jinwoo's hands on her swollen feet, Chisholm's hands on her belly, their future quite literally growing between them. Jinwoo, do you ever think about 6 years ago? About how different our lives could have been if you'd chosen differently then? Jinwoo considered this. Sometimes. But Chisholm, I think we ended up exactly where we were supposed to be. If I'd been brave enough to choose you 6 years ago, we would have been too young, too naive. My family would have destroyed us. We needed those years apart to become the people who could make this work. So you don't regret those lost years? I regret not knowing the twins as babies. I regret the pain I caused you. But the years themselves. Jinwoo moved to sit beside her, pulling her close. They made us who we are. They gave you the strength to stand up to my mother. They gave me the courage to stand up for us. They taught us both what really matters. Which is this. Jinwoo gestured around their living room. Toys scattered across the floor, children's artwork covering the refrigerator, photos of 4 different families mingling on the walls. Love, family, choosing each other every single day. Everything else is just noise. Chisholm leaned into him, feeling their baby move between them. Everything else is just noise, she repeated. I like that. I love you, Jinwoo said, tilting her face up to kiss her. I love our chaotic, beautiful, perfect life. I love our children, all 3 of them. I love that your sister is moving here. I love that our parents have become friends. I love that Minji and Suwa found each other. I love all of it. Even when your mother calls at 6 a.m. to discuss baby names? Even then, Jinwoo laughed. Especially then, because it means she cares. It means she's invested in our family. Who would have thought? Chisholm mused. Park Hyun-suk, champion of multicultural families in Korea. People surprise you, Jinwoo said, when you give them the chance to. Later, in bed, Chisholm lay awake listening to Jinwoo's steady breathing beside her. Through the baby monitor, she could hear the twins' soft snores. Outside, Seoul hummed with its endless energy. This is my life now, she thought. This city that broke my heart has become my home. This family that rejected me has become mine. This man who let me go has become my forever. The baby kicked again. Strong, insistent, ready to join this beautiful chaos they'd created. Welcome, Chisholm thought, one hand on her belly. Welcome to this family. We're not perfect. We're not traditional. But we're filled with love, and that's what matters. As she drifted off to sleep, she thought about the girl she'd been 6 years ago. Scared, heartbroken, fleeing Seoul with secrets and shame. And she thought about the woman she'd become. Strong, confident, building a life that honored all parts of herself. Thank you, she thought to that younger version of herself. Thank you for being brave enough to leave. Because leaving was what made it possible to come back. To come home. And this time she was staying. Forever. The end, their story, begun in heartbreak, forged in separation, rebuilt on second chances, was finally complete. Not perfect, because real love never is, but real, true, built to last. From Seoul to Lagos and back again. From fear to courage. From broken to whole. From two separate people into one family. Some love stories take the long way home. Some love stories require you to lose everything before you can build something lasting. Some love stories need time and distance and growth before they can become forever. This was one of those stories. And it was beautiful.